So I guess white privilege didn't really work out too well for Miss Elizabeth Holmes because she was sentenced to not 2 years like she thought she was going to get. She didn't even get like 4 years. I mean, they really threw the book at her. They sentenced her to 11.25 years in prison. Okay? And this is coming courtesy from Yahoo Finance. It reads, Elizabeth Holmes, Theranos founder, sentenced to 11.25 years in prison. Elizabeth Holmes, founder and CEO of the collapsed Silicon Valley blood testing company, Theranos, has been sentenced to 11.25 years in prison, plus 3 years of supervised release for financial crimes she committed while running the once high-flying venture. Holmes was also fined a $400 special assessment. Holmes must surrender the custody on April 27, 2023. Holmes is expected to appeal. The judge presiding over Holmes' trial and sentencing said the landmark case, one of the most closely watched in Silicon Valley history, should be a cautionary tale for startup founders who are willing to overhype the capabilities of their products. I suppose we step back and ask what is the pathology of fraud? Is it the refusal to accept responsibility or express contrition in any way? Judge Edward Davila said, perhaps that is the cautionary tale that will go forward from this case. In letters submitted to the court in support of Holmes, Davila noted that venture capitalists point to the fact that startup failures are normal, and investors are expected to lose 90% of the money they invest. One thing that was missing from those letters, the letters did not say anything about, nor did they endorse failure by fraud, Davila added. Before the sentencing, Davila said that under the U.S. sentencing guidelines considerations, the court found that Holmes should serve between 11.25 years and 14 years in prison. The court's calculation as to the reasonable total loss sustained by identified victims of the fraud to total $121.1 million. On Friday, Holmes, 38, appeared for the sentencing in the San Jose District Courthouse, where a jury in January found her guilty of 3 counts of wire fraud and 1 count of conspiracy. In convicting Holmes, the jury found she lied to investors who fueled roughly $900 million into the biotech venture about theranos technology and profitability. As Davila read Holmes' sentence aloud to a packed courtroom, the former CEO and one-time Silicon Valley darling was visibly pregnant with her second child in a long black skirt and blazer. Holmes was accompanied in court by her partner, Billy Evans, and her mother, Noelle Holmes. Before Holmes' sentence was read, she addressed the courtroom to express remorse. I stand before you taking responsibility for Theranos. I love Theranos. It was my life's work. My team meant the world to me. They wanted to make a difference in the world. I am devastated by my feelings. She said, every day for the past year, I have felt deep pain for the people. Those people who believed in us and those patients. I worked so hard to serve. I gave everything I had to try to build Theranos. Looking back, there are so many things I could do differently. I tried to realize my dream too quickly. Holmes' prison sentence represents approximately 14% of the maximum allowable time of 80 years that sentencing guidelines technically permit for her for fraud convictions. Each of those charges allow for a sentence of up to 20 years, along with $250,000 in fines plus restitution. While Holmes is expected to appeal her sentence, Friday's hearing brings to a close the former Silicon Valley superstar's multi-billion-dollar downfall that began in 2003, when at 19 years old, she dropped out of Stanford University with the dream to democratize healthcare. Holmes' co-defendant Ramesh Sunny Balwani, who was her boyfriend at the time she ran Theranos and served as the company's president and chief operating officer, was convicted in July on 12 similar fraud charges. His sentencing is scheduled to happen at a later date. For nearly 15 years, Holmes worked tirelessly to grow the blood testing company, dazzling investors and pushing for innovative technology that she hoped would miniaturize the amount of blood and size of equipment needed to run standard blood diagnostic tests. However, she and Balwani falsely told investors that Theranos' proprietary blood analyzer could run conventional laboratory tests from a finger stick blood sample of just a few drops of blood rather than traditionally larger volumes taken using traditional vein drawers. The duo also lied to investors by stating that the company was profitable and that its technology had been comprehensively validated by multiple major pharmaceutical companies. Theranos and Balwani's representations also helped Theranos secure a $140 million partnership with drugstore giants Walgreens, which planned to offer Theranos test sites inside its retail stores. But the accord imploded as Holmes and Balwani failed to show that their testing device could run around 200 common blood tests. Theranos ultimately collapsed in the wake of the 2015 Wall Street Journal report that revealed the company was not, in fact, conducting the array of blood tests from a finger prick of blood as Holmes promoted. Among the jury's 4 guilty verdicts were 3 based on investments. In 2014, $38.3 million from experienced healthcare investors Brian Grossman, and roughly $100 million investments by former U.S. Secretary Betty DeVos, and a $6 million investment by prominent estate lawyer Daniel Mosley, who steered wealthy clients to Theranos. At its peak, Theranos was valued at $9 billion, making Holmes the world's first self-made female billionaire. Editor's note: a previous version of this article had the incorrect assessment amount. It should be $400. And the person who wrote this is Alexis Keenan, who is a legal reporter for Yahoo Finance. Now, I'm going to go back and talk about who Elizabeth Holmes is and the root of all of this, okay? Elizabeth Holmes is a young woman who was actually from the DMV area. She's a year younger than me, and she was a child that always wanted to be like perfect and win at all costs. And so she was a girl who wasn't really favored by her parents, unlike her brother. She was actually favored by her uncle. And what occurred is that when she was about 18 years old, she got into Stanford University as an engineering major, and she had attended a Chinese university and was studying Mandarin. She went to a private school in Houston, and she became interested in computer programming, which got her to want to study chemical engineering. And she was really, really, really smart. She was really a good student, but she wanted to actually go for this test and create this product, Theranos. And she was asking everyone on campus to invest and to help her. So there was one professor who was a medical doctor with a PhD. And the woman said, Elizabeth, I can't back this. This is not going to work. There's no way that you can, with the prick of a finger, test a simple blood sample that will show all the genetic, diseases or any type of diseases a person will have. It's impossible. It's technically impossible. She wouldn't take no for an answer, and the doctor warned her, if you go through with this, you're going to get in trouble eventually. So she blamed the woman for not helping her because she didn't want another woman to succeed. So in March of 2004, she actually dropped out of university. But something really interesting with Ms. Holmes happened at the end of her freshman year. She had worked at the Genome Institute in Singapore and tested for severe acute respiratory syndrome, coronavirus, the first one, through the collection of blood samples and syringes. So basically, she was actually part of that team in 2003 that was basically doing the testing for the first woo-woo. Okay? If you know what I mean. Because the one that happened was the second woo-woo. So she did this, and she filed her first patent application on a wearable drug delivery patch in 2003. And so it got her head up, and then in March of 2004, she dropped out of Stanford School of Engineering and used her tuition money as seed to fund this vision and this company known as Theranos. Now, I saw the movie, I saw the documentary on HBO. I saw the limited series on Hulu. Excellent. You gotta see it. The young lady, Amanda Seyfried, did an excellent job portraying her. You have to also watch the various YouTube documentaries about this. I mean, the story is compelling. It's mind-boggling. This girl played everyone. She even had Henry Kissinger on the board. She had one of former Ronald Reagan's cabinet members not only on the board, but she hired his grandson, and the grandson was the one who blew the whistle on her, along with his co-worker, who was a female who was Chinese American. They lost their jobs, but the worst thing that happened to the grandson is that the grandfather turns on him because he believes Elizabeth even until the very end, and he never, ever, ever was able to repair his relationship with his grandfather. And he was a Stanford graduate with an actual degree in engineering. And I mean, she devastated some people's lives. One of the men who worked there, he was sick, and he actually had worked for Stanford, and he decided to join the team, the Theranos team. He ended up not being able to live with himself, and he did the inevitable. Then you had a black man that worked there. He actually just was fed up, and he quit. Then Sonny was bullying everyone, yelling at them and screaming at them. That was the boyfriend from India who she started messing with. She said when she was 18, but some people speculate that it was a little bit early. That's a whole nother story. Then you had the doctor who worked there. No, not the doctor. The lawyer who worked there that was covering up her mess. Then you had someone who worked there who at first was siding with her, but then he turned her into the Wall Street Journal because he was sick of it because she was lying. I mean, it was like the gift that kept on giving. And the worst thing about it was that you had people in the beginning that were telling people this isn't right. The machine, the patent, she stole the machine. In other words, what she did was she used the already made machine and labeled the machine as Theranos. She never had the patent fully filed and accepted and going through to the U.S. Patent Office. She lied. Because if you put a vial of blood or different vials of blood in a machine to run tests, you know what happens? The machine starts to cause the glass to crack and the blood to spill, which is what was happening. It wasn't working. Common sense would have told you that it's one thing to run 1 or 2 tests with vials of blood. Because when she did it with 1, it worked. 2, But multiple, it crashed. And she never, ever, ever told these people the truth. So, in my opinion, do I think that Elizabeth should go to jail? Abso-fucking-lutely, she should. Okay? Do I think 11.25 years is enough? No. But do I think 11.25 years is better than 2? Absolutely. Do I think that white privilege didn't work in her favor? It didn't. Because I'm going to tell you why. She going to have to serve at least 8 and a half years. Okay? Those 3 years of supervision, she got to do it. There's no way out around that. But she got to pay restitution. This woman was once a billionaire off of fraud, off of lying. And lied about, like, she would use her uncle who passed away to sell the lies of the company. And then she would say this stupid thing like she would have this deep voice and she would talk like, I created this product to make the world a better place for mankind. And then she would say something else like, the worst thing is to never be able to say, no, the worst thing she said was, the worst thing was having to say goodbye to someone you love. As if to say, you could prevent them from passing away, or it could have been preventable if they would have had the theranos test to test their blood. And she was using her uncle's example. Then she even had Bill Clinton involved. Like, she was talking to him at one of those world organizational conferences, and he was impressed with her. She was clicked in with all the big wigs of power. Honey, I mean, it's not even a fall from grace. It's like a fall from, it's a fall from being at the top of the mountain, the pinnacle, the apex, and falling to down to the base. Homegirl, that whole thing is embarrassing, okay? And in the end, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. When she's released from prison, I know Elizabeth got money stacked up, but she is not going to be able to go places like she used to. She's going to cover her head. She might get plastic surgery. I will say that her hair does look healthier than it did when she was running theranos. So that's a good thing. And she is looking more normal. She got away from Sonny, because I do think Sonny was controlling her and using her, because I do think a lot of what she was promoting as her ideas were really Sonny's, because Sonny was more experienced. She was a naive young woman on a lot of things, but still, she wanted it bad, and that was her punishment, because she was the face of it. So she's going to be the fall person. Also, many people are angry that she got pregnant again. I'm not upset with that, and I'm going to tell you why. Because regardless, she has a right, she has a right to have a family. Okay? And her getting pregnant is her knocking out a second child, because she knew she was going to go to jail. And she knew that being that she's 38, the time is kind of ticking. So it's like, let me just get the second baby out the way. Let me have it. And so, let me have the baby. And so 2023 in April, she's got to surrender. So the baby will probably be 3 months old or something. But it's a cautionary tale. And to all the black young people out there, yes, go to college if you want to, and you have the intelligence to do so, and you have the connections to grant scholarships, even loans, even working, go for it. But don't cheat your way to the top. This is the perfect example of what can happen. Because if it can happen to her, you know it can happen to all of us. Okay? And she came from money too. All right? Be an engineer, be an architect, be a physician, be a nurse, be an educator, be a lawyer, a financier, accountant, real estate person, computer science, anything, social worker, therapist, anything. But just do it the right way. Don't become an Elizabeth Holmes and create some fake company. And with that being said, it's your girl. I'm signing off. Thank you for listening to this commentary. And if you haven't done so, please subscribe to my channel. Please hit the notification bell. Please comment. Please like and share. I am really, really, really trying to grow my channel. And I want to give a shout out to all those that have been rocking with me through the years. I also want to give a shout out who really supported my channel when I was just a small channel. Thank you for visiting. And yes, I am a small channel. I've been doing this for half a decade. And I'm not going to say the reasons why my channel is small, but I'm just going to say that there are going to be some, I don't want to say changes, but let's say it's going to be an upgrade soon, if you know what I mean. And I'm still going to have the same type of content, but I also have other channels that cater to different type of content, such as reviews for television shows, movies, also music, albums. And then I have another channel that deals with news and hot topics and history, which I'm going to expand on. But I'm still going to keep the channel. So thank you for listening. Have a wonderful rest of the weekend. Take care. Be safe out there. Stay warm. And I'll talk to you later.